Welcome to the Avanti Women podcast. With each episode, each conversation, we aim to empower, connect, and build women to move forward, feel confident, and thrive in healthcare, finance, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy. We're glad you're here.
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Nairy, and I'm excited to be here with my amazing circle of friends, sisters, Sara, RoxAnne, Hana, and Gabby. So today, what we're going to do, we've gotten a lot of questions from women, and one of the biggest questions out there that I'd like to throw out there, ladies, so we can discuss is balancing career, family, and personal well-being can be challenging. So how do you, as successful career women, wives, and mothers, manage to succeed in your professional lives, deliver on your commitments, and still maintain balance and your feminine energy, the feminine energy that we're all hungry for? So what strategies and practices have you found most effective? I'll just open it out there. So let's just have a fun conversation and see how we're managing all this. Let's start with you, Sara. You're a mom and you barely have time. You're a career woman. You're a banker. You're a podcaster sometimes if you can squeeze it into your schedule. So how do you stay sane? And mostly how do you stay feminine for yourself and your husband?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. It's not easy. So I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it's easy. I have it in the bag. It's not. I've got kids, they're in the tween age and it's really hard. But I think what's worked for me is I just take one day at a time. I don't really do it. I just one day at a time and I prioritize what I'm doing. So if my priority are my family and my kids, then that's where it starts. And So I try not to overwhelm myself with everything that's going on and just say, this is what I need to do today. And then, at some point you just have to make time for yourself. And if you don't, then it's really difficult. But I'd say one day at a time.
Well, that's a good one. Hana, I mean, you conquered cancer. All
Yes.
right. You're a director of provider relations, VP, director. I mean, you're doing so much nationally in healthcare, and you're taking care of 5 pets in addition to everything. And you're a mom, and you're always so graceful with a smile, taking care of everything, being on top of everything. Tell us your secret. What are the strategies that you use to stay in balance and, insane, have sanity?
I think maybe because of my European background, my family always came first. So I was always really busy with my career, but I never let it swallow me. Do you know what I mean? So that is not to say that I don't wake up at 3 in the morning thinking about work, freaking out what I forgot or didn't do. But I just always try to put my parents, my sisters, my daughter, my marriage when I was married first. I don't know that I ever felt that I was really doing a good job at all 3. I think you go through phases where you feel I did really well at work, or, I did really well with my family, or I did really well with my friends, but you always feel like you are not enough. And I think that's what we really have to conquer is that we do feel like we are enough. And then for those of us who are lucky enough to have husbands who are actually partners rather than, big children that we take care of on top of our children. And I'm sure, ladies, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, they're all smiling.
It helps, right? It helps because you don't juggle, you don't feel like you have failed because you were too tired to do dishes after you made dinner and did homework and laundry and whatnot. So there is a lot to unpack here for women. because I think we overdo and we
Yes.
put ourselves last. I think, the way I always paid for that is chronic migraines. So the way I try and take care of myself is I try and schedule time to go and have a massage, or I try and go and have dinner with you guys. That's such a source of joy for me. Then my little zoo keeps me active because I have to walk the dogs and play with them, and they are just pure joy and love. And then taking pride in my daughter, in Sarah, because she has really turned out to be so fabulous. So I probably did something right, but I, on top of everything else, I take care of my disabled mom and sister, and that is really depressing in itself because it has just been going on no end in sight. And I miss them. They are two women that I love very much, and
Oh,
yes, they are here, but they are just
But
shells
I think
of
she
their
had some.
former self. So
yeah, okay.
that makes it difficult. Yeah. But yeah, again, have good food, have good company, have read good books, watch good TV, go out and be with people who fill you up rather than deplete you.
Yeah.
And above all, have good girlfriends. At least
That is
that's
so
my experience.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. And I think,
Life is
the main thing that I'm hearing so far is the balance and also to be able to do
Mhm.
things one thing at a time, right? Yeah,
That's right.
which you guys are so good
Yes.
at.
Yes. And
Um,
understand that you are limited in how much you can do, right? So
And not
asking for help.
also being forgiving of yourself if you don't get something done. Because I think, especially women who are very goal oriented and focused and want to do well and everything, sometimes we're hard on ourselves. And so being forgiving and saying it's okay. If I missed the mark on this particular item, it's okay.
yeah,
That doesn't
that's
mean you're
true.
not going to reach your goal. It just means that this one particular item wasn't quite there, but it's okay.
That's so true. Gabby, you're so young and yet so wise and old. So with everything that you have, and you have such serious job, where you do the marketing and AI, digitalization of all of this stuff for a very, very large company nationally. Plus, you have your own life, you have your family, you have, we all have personal issues that come up or whatnot. How do you always stay smiling and really deliver on top? What are your secrets at this young age that you've wised up so fast? It amazes me. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nairi. I think, everybody has been so eloquent in sharing feedback and strategies coming from personal experience. And I think all of that really should be taken in by our listeners today. It all comes from a place of wisdom. What I can share with you now, especially at this time of year, navigating some of the challenges that we have in our busy season, I would say take challenges with grace and don't take them personally, especially if you find that you need to change your expectations on what something had looked like. So, for example, we are in the Medicare marketing insurance sales industry. We have open enrollment, we have complex campaigns, we have customizations that come into play as an example. And oftentimes, what was originally expected as the deliverable may evolve. And it could be for factors outside of your control. I think for women, it's important to understand that no matter how much you envision and provide support for, these things may evolve again outside of our grasp, and we have to roll with the punches. And sometimes that takes taking yourself out of the equation and not taking these changes personally. I think that's the biggest advice that I could give to anyone, especially navigating things that come at you, whether it's personally or professionally. It's important to note that these changes may not be specific to you or be coming from the work that you've done, and that's okay. The other thing I would say in terms of self care and managing yourself and being happy with where you're at balance wise, I recommend finding joy in the hobbies that you take outside of work. And what that looks like also evolves and may vary, not even just within a year, but where you're at within your week. On really, really busy weeks, I find the most joy cooking for myself and creating um, I would call it creative meals and just diving into different types of ways to prepare different dishes for fun and for my family. And for other weeks, that may be, going to the nail salon, doing something feminine or going shopping and just enjoying that time. But again, these hobbies evolve and they're really going to be based off of your needs personally. So I recommend not losing sight of that. There are some weeks where it's just important to get some extra rest. And I think that's really overlooked. You may need an extra hour of sleep or two, or you may need to take extra care and preparation for your meals. It may look like, hey, you're skipping meals and skipping snacks. And people forget oftentimes that rest and meals can really impact you day to day. So I would leave everyone with that.
That's amazing. I heard this wise man once say, invest into rest. It's part of the formula for success. So true. Wow. That's awesome. Thanks, Gabby. And last but not least, RoxAnne Triché. I mean, another breast cancer survivor. I mean, we have 3 breast cancer survivors, Sara, Hana, and RoxAnne. And RoxAnne, again, you do a million things. You're a wife, you're a grandmother, you're a mother, you're a writer, publisher of books. You and your husband own a school, and you're getting ready to graduate 20 graduates this weekend of the college, the seminary college, Scripture Therapy and Seminary. You're a project manager. Tell us your secret. How do you do everything? How do you stay on top? How do you keep your grace and your faith? And how do you keep feeling like a woman amidst all these things that we have? We naturally go into our masculine energy doing all of these things every day. So I think the biggest question I have is, how do you keep feeling like a woman amidst all this?
So it's really, I am gonna hands down agree with Gabby, because the rest part of it, I get up very early in the morning. As you said, I am a writer, and I do write little messages in the morning. So for some reason, the information never really comes to me like the day before or 2 days before. It just comes to me that morning. So I do have to get up early to get that out. I try to get it out between 6 and 7 a.m. So I'm usually up between 5 and 5:30. So when I go to bed at night, I run very, very hard throughout the day. But when I do go to bed, I make sure that I go to bed early enough to where I get plenty of rest and plenty of sleep. Additionally, I do care for my 97-year-old mother-in-law. And so I start about 9 o'clock because I have to get her ready for bed and, prepare her for bed and what have you. So I just say that for me, it's really more about when I'm working on something, I try to focus on what I'm working on. Some days I'm going to be great at it, and some days, well, I'm just not. And I have to accept that and know that I can't be great at everything every day all the time. So as you said, a mother and a grandmother at my home, we bought this house with the intention of it being a multi-generational home, hence my mother-in-law, who will be 97 here in on Sunday. And then my daughter, her husband, and 2 of my grandchildren, soon to be 3 grandchildren from that daughter, or they live on the first floor down there. So I get to interact with them, and I do spend that time, and it's really just spending time, quality time, and then, okay, grandma has to work, you have to go. Or, the same thing with my daughter, quality time, do what we got to do. And sometimes I have to intermingle things. Sometimes I'm doing this, as you talked about the college and seminary. So we own the college and seminary. We also own another company called Internal Empowerment, which we contract to Loyola Marymount University. So they have our classes online, some of our courses online. So, sometimes I have to put that head on and I have to leave what I do, other things. And then I do this really well. And then I go back and I do that. And the thing is, even though I do go all day, every day like that, unlike Hana, I do not stop to take the time for myself. So, and listening to everybody, I do know that I should have that balance, although I don't really do it that well. And then we're not going to say anything about the husbands, but I think Hana said it very nicely. And so, that's also another full-time job. And so it's very day by day. It's just day by day, but primarily I am very spiritual. And so I really, really depend on my faith and my relationship with God. And so for me, that is my big go-to. When I don't even know what to say, when I don't know what to do, I just cry out the name of Jesus like for 10 minutes and then I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll. I feel energized. I'm ready to go again. And so for me, I think to be able to do what it is that I can do, because I do give him all the praise, honor, and glory, I really depend so much on that relationship. It is my first and foremost. It is my go-to for everything. And when I have to stop before pulling my hair out that I just recently got back, I do stop and I do reflect and I do pray through the day to help, calm me down, bring me back to reality. If I'm overwhelmed, help me, bring me back to where I need to be to get what I need to get done. Because I do try to do everything with a level of excellence, because I don't feel like I am doing it for Avanti. I don't feel like I'm doing it for Scripture Therapy College and Seminary. I don't feel like I'm doing it for internal empowerment. I don't feel like I'm doing it for Loyola Marymount University. I am doing it to please God. And so I must do it with a level of excellence. And I feel very good about that because he gave me the ability to do it. And I believe it is my responsibility to, in return, to do that, and no matter what he gives me. So even if I don't know, I will go to Dr. Google in a minute. I will go to AI and I will research and I will find out and I will learn how to do it because he gave me those abilities to do that. So that is my story.
That's amazing. Wow. Ladies, all of you guys have been amazing with your fabulous techniques and stories in motivating women who are listeners about, how to keep the balance and how to deliver and still remain women. And just like most of you, for me, what keeps me going is my faith. I don't think I could do anything without my faith. That's number one. And I find that routine also helps me. If I'm out of my routine, I feel very cluttered in my head. Mm-hmm. And so, but, I still have a lot of learning to do. And I'm so grateful to have you all around me as a support group to learn from you and to learn from each other. So I hope our listeners have found this discussion as enlightening and empowering as I have. Thank you so much for this beautiful encounter. And until next time, stay strong, stay balanced, and keep embracing your own unique journey.
Thank you for joining us today. For more engagement, you can find us at the Avanti Woman on all social and media platforms. Follow us on Instagram, join our community group on Facebook to chat, subscribe to our YouTube for our latest videos. You can rate us 5 stars on Spotify and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for helping us reach even more Avanti women just like you.